So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Starmer claiming the UK, can be better off outside the EU than inside. And I looked through the article; it's a bit sus, but he kind of does say it when they asked him a question about it. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. He also talks about the need for deregulation. I'm just like, oh mate, please stop it. Please just stop it. I dropped the ball and I didn't cover his 5-point plan on Brexit, which was really stupid of me. I don't know how I missed it. But yeah, we'll go through this. Labour leader Starmer told City AM that the UK can have a better economic future outside the EU than inside if the government slashes post-Brexit red tape and diverges from Brussels regulation. Now, I don't think he said it in those words, but yeah. He says this can only be done, so sort of like the UK's reformation, can only be done through greater flexibility by both Brussels and London, as he prepares to meet German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Berlin. Yeah, that's not going too well for him. During his ongoing visit to Berlin, Starmer plans to ask Chancellor Scholz how the UK can work more closely with the EU as a non-EU member. A German source says the possibilities are very limited as a third country. We'd prefer you to join the UK to rejoin the EU, but you can't make Brexit work, so that's not going to go well for him. Point being is that the only way to slash red tape is through alignment, not through divergence. By diverging, we create more red tape and more checks, because the more we want to export to the EU, the more they're going to be like, well, your rules aren't as good as ours, we need to check everything coming in here. When asked if it was possible for the UK to fare better outside the EU than inside, Starmer said yes. So effectively, he did say what the headline said. I suppose he can't really say no in a way, because they're going to attack him. But he could have answered the question, I think, a lot better, a lot better, because it was obviously a question that was going to come up. He could have said, look, through alignment and through realignment with the EU, we can make a go of things. We can do things better. But he does say yes, we need to make a success of this. So I guess he's saying we can do better outside the EU, but we have to, quote, make Brexit work. He does say that. The government hasn't got a real plan to take advantage of the opportunities to plan for the future. I mean, what opportunities are there, pal? Come on. He says, that's why I've said we've got to make Brexit work. How are you going to do that? He says there is no case to go back to the single market, to go back to the customs union. I mean, no case politically, no case economically. What do you mean? Going back to the single market would get rid of a lot of the regulatory barriers for trading with the EU. The only problems we'd have are customs. That's it, and that's way easier than dealing with the current situation now, especially when mutual recognition of standards ends. Labour largely avoided the issue of Brexit for the first 2 years of Starmer's leadership, so he's had about 2 years to figure this out here, and he hasn't really done a good job. He's got his 5-point plan to make Brexit work. So if we have a look at that, right, this, the 5-point plan, came out 4th of July, which I still annoyed I missed it, which there's some good stuff in here. He calls for a veterinary agreement for agri-foods with the EU, great. Because Labour would extend that new veterinary agreement to cover all of the UK, benefiting exporters at a stroke. Obviously, he's talking about in the context of the Northern Ireland Protocol, but for us to get an alignment deal, it'd include the whole of Great Britain. It wouldn't just include stuff going to Northern Ireland. Doesn't really make sense, the bit in green. He talks about mutual recognition of professional qualifications, ensuring our services can compete, and restoring access to funding and via research programs. So he's talking about Horizon. With ensuring our services can compete, how are our services going to compete? You need free access to services in the EU, and you only get that through single market access, really. Free trade agreements don't cover services typically, so that didn't make any sense. His Labour will be sharper. We will use our flexibility outside the EU to ensure British regulation is adapted to suit British needs. And literally, these things are Conservative Party talking points, talking about, we can make our regulations more flexible. I mean, come on, man. There's a bit more here. It says, we will not seek regulatory equivalence for financial services, as that could constrain our ability to make our own rules and system work better. So we will not seek regulatory equivalence. The problem is, right, David Lammy, because I remember covering this, right? David Lammy said that the Labour Party would look for regulatory equivalence with the UK and with the EU even. So David Lammy said one thing, Starmer saying another thing. Can these people just figure out what the hell they want to do here? Because honestly, it's been 2 years and you've got nothing, pal. Genuine madness going on here. He goes, as an example, we want to change rules on insurance. So it's about Solvency 2, it's currently a large talking point, saying, rules on insurance which are currently directly taken from EU regulations we played a large part in forming, by the way, to allow British pension savers to own and build British infrastructure. But the pensions, right, the money is the pension pots are put into the hands of private insurers, right? And they invest that money, and that's one of the ways how pensioners make money, essentially, in order to build up their pensions. The pensioners won't own the British infrastructure. The insurance companies will. The pension companies will. At this point, it's just so stupid. He's trying to make it seem like it's going to be really left wing, where pensioners will own, wind farms, etc. But that's not going to happen. They will get a cut of the profits the wind farm makes, but they won't fundamentally own it. Come on, bro. Like, stop lying to people, man. It's just annoying me at this point. Starmer is calling for the UK to diverge from EU-era financial service regulations. He goes, he will fix the Northern Ireland Protocol by closing a veterinary agreement with Brussels that would slash checks on food crossing the Irish Sea. Again, some good stuff here, but also some really bad stuff here. Really bad stuff. He goes, I understand why colleagues across the Labour Party want to make sure we have the very best trading arrangements, the best security arrangements for our country. But again, we're going to struggle to get these security arrangements and things like that. Because we're not going to have access to the databases. He says we've had 12 years of stagnation, that's true, 12 years of slow growth. The cost of living crisis is far, far more acute than in other countries, he said. He's right, but the stuff he's promising to do here won't fix it. And the thing that's really painful about Starmer is he keeps doing all this to win. He will sell out everything to win, because this is a point he made to Andrew Marr, where Andrew Marr basically called him out on him breaking his leadership pledges.
Every hustings had a closing speech, and my closing speech was the same every single time, which was, if we don't win, all the things that all the candidates are saying will never come to pass. So I made it clear that anyone voting for me as leader of the Labour Party would have someone who is laser-like focused on winning an election. And that was my pitch to our Labour Party members.
So that's why he's walked away from his promises, because he kept saying apparently at the end of every hustings that my focus is to win, and dude will sell out everything to win. He's given up his leadership pledges. He's using Tory talking points, talking about deregulation, trying to appeal to the City of London and business types here. I mean, the problem he's going to face is if Labour win, or if they get a majority or go into coalition, unless they change the first past the post system, they'll be voted out with a quickness, because the Tory party will go back to probably Cameron type Tories, right? And they'll win back the support of businesses really quickly. And unless you put through the financial reforms that you're talking about, and you're talking about massive deregulation here, because the insurance companies aren't happy with what's been promised so far, you're not going to win them over. You're not going to win them over. So in the short term, you might win, but unless you make electoral reforms, long term, you're going to lose again. And it's going to be 2010 to 2015 all over again. And it's going to be horrible for people. Look at what austerity has done to this country. I mean, bro, like, I need to speak to someone in the Labour Party, man. Like, I haven't seen anyone cover the 5-point plan. Genuinely, I dropped the ball on it because I saw David Lammy talking about it. I didn't realise Starmer was going to say something really different. This is the thing I was talking about. Labour Party unveils plans to seek limited changes to the Brexit deal. So if we actually have a look down here, right? Labour says it would seal a deal on financial equivalency for the City of London and secure Horizon membership. But why is it in his speech? In his 5-point plan, Starmer says we will not seek regulatory equivalence for financial services. But yet, before, you've got David Lammy saying they will. The Labour Party saying they will. So can they please just make up their minds? Because I can't keep covering contradictions here. I can't keep covering you guys changing your mind, especially when this post was put out on the 4th of July and this article was written on the 23rd of June. Like, these aren't too far away here. You're not talking months or years. You're talking space of 3 weeks at best. I despair. I genuinely despair. But on to the rest of the video. I'm just really ticked off here. And the argument that he makes that, down here in the middle, when asked if it's possible for the UK to fare better economically outside the EU than inside, Starmer said yes. Is he telling the truth here or lying? Is he saying yes, he genuinely believes it, or is he lying about it because he thinks that's what's going to win him the general election? Because even I think the leader of the Good Law Project, Julian, I can't pronounce his second name, he was saying that Starmer's interview on LBC just makes Starmer look very shifty, like he can't be trusted, and I kind of agree with that. This is a guy who's given up on his leadership pledges, and what's to hold him to his manifesto at this point? You know, what makes anyone confident he's going to push through on his manifesto pledges? The only reason a lot of people are backing Starmer is because they're desperate for electoral reform. Once electoral reform happens, Labour are going to lose a lot of support. Because it won't be a question of, you need to vote Labour to keep the Tories out. It'll be a question of, well, you can vote Labour, you can vote for the dreaded Lib Dem party, which I'm not going to talk about that much, or you could vote Green. Or maybe a new party comes up, you can vote for them. And if they can get over 5% of the vote, they can win some seats. That's what's going to happen here. And I just despair, they'll have my vote and stuff. We need to get rid of the Tories, but please at least give me some hint of inspiration here. Just a bit. I'm not asking you for much, bro. I'm not asking you for much, I dread the day any Labour campaigner comes outside my door asking for my vote, because they're going to get the biggest earful of their lives here, and I don't want to be that guy who does it. But I've got so many questions for him, and I need to speak to someone in the Labour Party, elected official or a campaigner, somebody, to ask them, what the hell do you stand for? Do you want equivalency with the EU for financial services, or don't you? Please give me something. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there before I lose my mind. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.